The day I found out my dad had another family living just 20 miles away, I felt like my entire life was a joke. I was sitting in my car, parked outside a small house I'd never seen before, watching him walk out the front door with a woman who wasn't my mom, and two kids who called him dad. I grew up thinking my family was normal. Not perfect, but good enough. My dad worked a lot. He was a contractor, always on a job somewhere. My mom stayed home most of my childhood, then picked up part-time work once my brother and I were older. We weren't rich, but we had what we needed. Family dinners, weekend movie nights, the usual stuff. Dad wasn't super affectionate, but he provided. He was the kind of guy who'd fix things around the house without being asked, bring home takeout on Fridays, and say, "Love you, kid," on his way out the door. He was steady, predictable, reliable. Or, at least, that's what I thought. Looking back, there were things that don't sit right now. He'd disappear on random weekends for work. Sometimes he'd come home late smelling like a different laundry detergent or with food stains from restaurants we'd never been to. When I asked about it, he'd brush it off or make some joke until I dropped it. Mom trusted him completely. She never questioned a thing. She'd always say, "Your dad works hard for us." And that was the end of it. And I believed her. Why wouldn't I? I think that's what hurts the most now, the fact that none of us ever suspected a thing. We built our lives around a man who was splitting his time between two families, just 20 miles apart. It started small. A few months before everything blew up, I noticed my dad acting different. He started dressing nicer when he said he was going to work. New shirts, cologne he'd never worn before. He'd shave on weekends when he usually didn't bother. One night, I borrowed his truck to pick up something from the store. When I plugged in my phone, his GPS history popped up on the screen. The last destination wasn't any job site I knew. It was a residential address in a town about 20 miles away. I asked him about it later, trying to sound casual. He said he was helping a coworker fix a fence. He said it so easily that I let it go. But after that, I couldn't unsee it. The long calls he took outside. The texts he'd quickly delete. The extra cash withdrawals. It was all there and I just didn't want to believe it. It happened by accident. Dad left his jacket on the couch one night. When I went to hang it up, his phone fell out of the pocket. The screen lit up with a text that said, "The kids can't wait to see you tomorrow." The number wasn't saved. Just 10 random digits. I opened the message thread, photos, birthday pictures, a little girl sitting on his lap. Him smiling like I'd never seen before. My chest went cold. I copied the number, ran it through Facebook. A woman's profile popped up. Married, but not to my dad. Same town as that address I'd seen before. I didn't even think. I grabbed my keys and drove there. And when I saw him on the porch with her and two kids who called him dad, that word hit me like a punch to the chest. Dad? He laughed with them, hugged them, kissed the woman on the cheek. He looked happy, comfortable, like he belonged there. Everything I knew about him died right there. I didn't plan what I was going to say. I just pulled over, got out of my car, and started walking toward him. He froze the second he saw me. The woman looked confused. The kids ran inside. For a few seconds, none of us spoke. Then I said it. "Who are they?" He didn't answer. His face went pale. Then he tried to pull me aside, whispering, telling me to calm down and not make a scene. That made me lose it. I asked how long this had been going on, how he could lie to Mom, to me, to everyone. He just kept saying, "It's complicated." Like that made it better. I told him I saw the pictures, the messages, everything. He finally admitted it. He'd been seeing her for almost 10 years. 10 years. The kids were his. I felt sick. I couldn't even look at him. I told him I'd tell Mom, and he begged me not to. He actually begged. Said it would destroy everything. I told him it already had. Then I got back in my car and drove off. I don't even remember the drive home. Just the sound of my heartbeat in my ears and the feeling that I'd never see my father the same way again. I told my mom that same night. She was sitting at the kitchen table, paying bills, when I blurted it out. I didn't sugarcoat anything. I told her everything I saw, every message, every photo. At first, she just stared at me like she didn't understand the words coming out of my mouth. Then she asked me to say it again. When I did, her whole body went still. She didn't cry right away. She just sat there, quiet, like her brain was shutting down. Then she whispered, "You must be mistaken." But I wasn't. I showed her the photos. That's when she broke. She dropped her phone and started shaking. I'd never seen her like that. She kept saying, "Why would he do this to us?" Over and over. I didn't have an answer. When my dad came home later that night, she was waiting for him. I stayed in my room, but I heard everything, the shouting, the crying, the sound of something breaking. He slept on the couch that night. The next day, he packed a bag and left. The house felt empty after he left. Mom barely spoke for days. My brother didn't even want to talk about it. He just shut down completely. Meals got quiet. Nights got long. It felt like someone had died, and in a way, someone had. The version of my dad we knew was gone. He called a few times, tried to explain, but I couldn't even listen. Every word out of his mouth sounded like another lie. A week later, Mom found out he was still living with that other woman. That was the last straw. She filed for divorce and told him never to come back. I thought I'd feel better after that, like cutting him out would make things easier. But it didn't. It just left a hole. Even now, when I drive past that town, my stomach twists. It's crazy to think that for years he was living two lives, and we were only half of one. This taught me that love doesn't always mean honesty. That family can lie to your face and still say they love you. And that sometimes the truth doesn't fix anything. It just shows you what was broken all along. But I also learned I can survive it. I can live without pretending anymore. And maybe that's what freedom really is. That's it for today's story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more daily threads, and drop a comment to let me know your thoughts. See you in the next one.